Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for coming along to our Ascentis ESOL webinar today, especially at lunchtime. I hope you're not giving up your lunches. We're just going to give it a couple more minutes, literally just sort of 90 seconds or so, just to see if any of the stragglers join, but we won't delay it too long for you.
Hope everyone's doing okay. There is a questions box. You should be able to type in if you can hear us or not. So if anyone would like to let us know if they can hear us all right.
Oh, we've got someone coming in. Thanks, Francesca.
Hi, Francesca. Looks like it's going to thunder here. I don't know about everyone else, but it looks like there is a storm brewing in Lancaster, or if it's just in my area of Lancaster as well.
Yeah, well, I'm about 20 miles away from Francis, and at the moment, looking out the window, I can see blue skies, so it must just be a Lancaster thing.
Hopefully, I get some of that. Oh, hello, Alison. Glad you can hear us as well.
Thank you, Alison.
Always nice to know that we're not just talking to ourselves.
Okay, I think what we're going to do is a couple of minutes past 12 now. So thank you everyone for being on time. So we'll make a start, and if there are any stragglers, they can join up in a couple of minutes time, or a couple of slides time, I should say. So thank you again to everyone for coming on board today. This is our ESOL webinar, so it should take sort of 35 to 40 minutes. So hopefully you'll have time to go and grab a sandwich and a cup of coffee before your afternoon starts after this webinar. So just as an introduction to the webinar, so currently we've muted all of the microphones. It's just to avoid any excess noise, really. So you know, I've got cats here, Francis has got dogs and cats. I'm sure if you're all working from home, you might have distractions behind you too. So it's just to avoid any excess noise. There is the question box. So in addition to Francis and I, we've got our colleague Louise on the call, and Louise will try and answer any questions that you have throughout the webinar. So please feel free to use that question box. At the end, there will be, Francis and I and Louise will stay on for another 5 to 10 minutes just for any additional questions. And at that moment, if there's anything that you'd like to discuss rather than type, obviously be able to unmute your microphone. So moving on to the next slide. So meet the new regional sales managers. So some of you may or may not have met Francis and I. So Francis started about 5 months ago, and I started about 3 months ago. So we are relatively new to Ascentis. I know we've met lots of great Ascentis customers and prospective customers already, but hopefully we'll be meeting many more over the years to come. So hopefully this may be the first time you're seeing our faces, but won't be the last. So onto the agenda. So there'll be a bit of an introduction from myself, an overview of Ascentis, the ESOL qualification and benefits. Francis will take you through reading and writing, speaking and listening. I'll come back on for pre-entry ESOL, community interpreting and volunteering, and the resources, I think. Then Francis will go through an exciting reading announcement and some testimonials. There will be a bit of a poll at the end as well, just in reference to the sort of time of year that you would like us to run our regular ESOL seminar. So again, many of you on the call will know Ascentis already, but for those of you that don't, we were established in 1975, so we've been around those 46 years. And a little while ago, we'd been known as the Open College Northwest. We are still based in the Northwest in Lancaster. We are an awarding organisation and an access validating agency. And in fact, we are the largest access validating agency, and we maintain a low risk rating. As you would expect, we are regulated by Ofqual, Qualification Wales and the CCEA, and eligible for funding under the ESFA. One thing you may not know about us is that we are a registered charity, so a registered educational charity. And one thing I'm sure you will know about us is that we offer a wide portfolio of qualifications. So why Ascentis for your ESOL provision? So Ascentis offer ESOL Award and Certification from entry 3 all the way through to level 2. We have no minimum registrations, so it's roll on, roll off as and when you have the learners, so you don't have to have a large pool of numbers that you aren't using. And you can register learners at any point prior to assessment, so you only really need to register the learners when they're ready for that assessment. Once you're an approved Ascentis centre and approved for the ESOL qualification, assessment papers are available on demand to you, and we do have an option for no or little wait for resits. So obviously in many instances, I'm sure you'll want to go away with your learners and make sure that they're ready for resits. But for example, if a learner's moving area, heavily pregnant, a variety of options that mean they have to resit quickly, we have that option, that flexibility to resit quickly and not have to wait for the next window. Additionally, in writing, speaking and listening, there's no need to resit the whole paper, so just the certain tasks that are needed. And we look to reduce tutor workloads with minimal paperwork. And we also offer very quick certification. We also offer controlled assessments that can be sat in the classroom environment. So for those that don't like big formal exam conditions, certainly, I'm sure we all have flashbacks to people walking up and down in old stuffy school halls, but you can just sit it in a classroom environment to help relax the learner. Tasks can also be broken up and just taken when the learner's ready. So again, there's no need to do everything at once. It can be very much a task-based approach when the learner's ready for that. We have a choice of live papers as well. So all of the papers are obviously at the same level that the learner's looking at, but it might be that you think one paper is more suited to X student than it is from Y student. It might be an age thing, it might be a skills thing. So we offer a choice of live papers. We put their bespoke on-site staff training, obviously at the moment with everything that's going on, touch wood, it won't be that much longer, but the training is obviously remote at the moment, but we do offer bespoke on-site training when COVID restrictions allow, verification, support and resources. We also offer speaking assessment videos and marked writing papers, which are available then for staff training throughout. And our development is continuous, so all of our papers are refreshed by ESOL experts every year, and so the development goes on and on and on. You know, you're not looking at an ESOL paper that was written 4 years ago, for example. And as with all our qualifications, you get designated an expert EQA, an external quality assurer, and an internal Ascentis customer support assistant. Finally, from me for now, as I've said, we offer that bespoke staff training on site when COVID allows, or remotely if not, with a bespoke verification model. You have access to your live and practice papers on demand, and we have your assessor guidance and mark scheme and further supporting guidance available too. Your ESOL EQA and your internal customer service support are available all year round. So again, it's not just in windows coming up to exam season, anything like that, they're available throughout. And we offer regular regional quality meetings online as well. And again, they're free to attend, so there's no cost for those if you're in a Ascentis centre. You then have free places also, the regional and online internal quality assurance training courses, and we have that hands-on customer support that I've mentioned already, and that includes an unannounced QA visit. I'm now going to hand over to Francis for the next few slides.
Thank you very much. So just to talk to you further about our ESOL regional quality meetings. So these are free regional and they are online at the minute. So they're ESOL specific meetings for your existing coordinators and tutors. They are led by our subject experts, which are external quality assurers, or our EQAs, as some of you might know them as. They're a fantastic opportunity to network and share best practice with other practitioners. It's a great chance if you've got any questions or problems or concerns, or you're wanting some tips on learning and support from other colleges, other tutors as well. It's a great place to do that. The focus of these meetings is on our assessments. We provide example materials, resources, and of course we give general sector updates as well. And we do issue certificates after attendance, and these do count towards your CPD as well. So onto our Assessor and Iqa courses. So again, these are Ascentis led and they are free. They're regional, they're done in regions, and they are online courses. And again, these count towards your CPD. So these are aimed at tutors assessing and tutors in an internal verifier role. And again, these help with familiarisation with Ascentis procedures, paperwork and expectations. And it also offers support for new and existing centre tutors and IVs as well. So we're going to talk to you now about the assessments. So the assessments for ESOL have been designed by ESOL tutors. So they are designed by ESOL tutors for ESOL tutors and for ESOL learners. It's not the easiest sentence to say that, I'm not going to lie. So the assessments are all unique task-based controlled assessments. We offer a variety of carefully designed topics across modes and levels. And we provide you with detailed and supportive mark schemes as well. So these are delivered when the learner is ready in their own classrooms and by their own tutors. So as Alex said, we don't want them to be under that pressure that we remember from our GCSEs and A-levels and things like that in those big daunting exam rooms. These are in their own environment with their own tutor, where they know, where they've learned, where they're comfortable. So I think that's a really important and lovely point there. So we offer a choice of live papers, so this supports the diversity of your ESOL learners. We have a growing bank of practice papers that you'll have access to as well. We also don't have any double staffing, so that's for tutors, facilitators and assessors. And our mark scheme is a positive marking as well. So we're going to start breaking down the assessments now. So we'll start with the reading. So this is from entry level 1 and goes all the way up to 3. So this includes 3 tasks and 3 different texts. So each task tests all of the assessment criteria. There's 3 opportunities to achieve all of the assessment criteria in these levels, and the learner must achieve all the assessment criteria at least once plus a numerical score. So for level 1 and level 2 for the reading, slightly different with 4 tasks and 4 texts, but again they have those 3 opportunities to achieve all of the assessment criteria across 4 tasks, and the learner again must achieve all the assessment criteria at least once plus a numerical score. And then we go on to the writing. So this is the same from entry 1 all the way up to level 2. So this each assessment contains 3 tasks. So task 1 is always the form. So they can fill in their date of birth, their name, their age, as if they were registering, I don't know, for like a doctor's surgery or your dentist or something like that. So there's 1 opportunity to meet assessment criteria in this task, and the learner must meet that assessment criteria to achieve. Tasks 2 and tasks 3 are, again, these tasks test all of the assessment criteria. The learner must meet that assessment criteria at least once to achieve, and they must produce 2 valid attempts to address all of the criteria. If the assessment criteria from a task is not achieved, the equivalent task from another set may be attempted. So they wouldn't have to fill in, for example, on task 1, the same form. You could pick a different form from another paper, and they could do that one. So for the speaking and listening, so this is broken down into our entry level. So this is for entry 1 to entry 3. So each assessment contains 3 tasks. So for the listening, there's always 2 opportunities to meet all assessment criteria. And Ascentis will provide you with that audio to be set as a whole class. For any Archers fans out there, the audio actually features, I think it's Hannah from the Archers on there. So it's the voice of the one of the Archers. So it's a lovely, the voices are nice and easygoing to listen to. The accents aren't too broad. They're professionally filmed, recorded as well, so it's a good piece of audio. However, in entry 1, the tutor can actually read the transcript and those questions if you feel like that's more appropriate for those learners at entry 1. So for the speaking, task 2 involves a role play with the tutor. That task is unseen. And task 3 is a group discussion where they can pick a general topic, can be given 2 weeks prior to that assessment, so they do have some time to prepare there. And again, if the assessment criteria from a task is not achieved, then the equivalent task from another set may be attempted. There's 2 opportunities across tasks 2 and tasks 3 to meet all of the assessment criteria, and the learner must hit all of that assessment criteria at least once to achieve as well. So on to speaking and listening for levels 1 and levels 2. So again, each assessment contains 3 tasks. So the listening always has 3 opportunities to meet all of the assessment criteria. And again, we will provide that audio to be sat as a whole class, but obviously note that there isn't an opportunity here for the tutor to read those transcripts. So that is only for entry 1. So for the speaking in level 1, there's a task 2 and a task 3. So task 2 is a group role play. So this will be an informal and a formal situation, and that task is unseen. But an example of that could be for you're in a block of flats and you're having some issues with I don't know, some pipe work or something in the flats, and you need to go to the landlord. So you as a block, as a community in there, all the flatmates will meet and have that conversation. So that will be informal, and then you'll take that situation to the landlord. So that will be the formal situation. So that informal and formal will be there for both in that task for all situations. So task 3 is a free choice presentation and then a group discussion, and your learners will have 4 weeks to prepare. It is worth noting though that free choice presentation, the topic has to be run past the tutor just to make sure that it fits in with the criteria. So an example of that could be that a learner decides that they're going to talk about how to make an omelette. So it's going to be a step-by-step, break the eggs, beat the eggs, etc. And that's going to be too easy, so it wouldn't meet that criteria. So you would need to check that. And then on a flip of that, it could be that the topic is actually too complicated. So you could have a surgeon, for example, who's trying to learn English, but decides that he's going to talk about knee surgery. But that wouldn't then be, it wouldn't then be able to have a fair discussion in the group situation, because obviously, unless you're a knee surgeon, you're not going to have the relevant questions and understanding of that. So the conversation and the topics do need to be discussed with the tutor prior to that. So for the speaking level 2, again, there's 2 tasks. So task 2 is a limited choice presentation, and they have 4 weeks to prepare there. And task 3 is a group discussion on a controversial topic. And again, they do have 4 weeks to prepare for that one. And as we've seen throughout the other assessments, the criteria from a task, if it's not achieved, then you can choose an equivalent task from another set. And there's 2 opportunities across task 2 and task 3 to meet all the assessment criteria. And the learner must hit all of the assessment criteria at least once to achieve. It's quite a mouthful, that one. And then I'll hand back over to Alex now.
Thank you very much, Francis. So I'm going to take you through the next few slides and some resources as well. So the first slide that I'll talk to you about is pre-entry ESOL. So this is the introduction to learning for speakers of other languages. We do like a long title, I think. So obviously this is a pre-entry qualification, therefore a non-regulated qualification. That said, we still do provide staff training and learning resources. It's an evidence-based qualification, so evidence details are judged by the tutor, dependent on the learners. And of course, with it being pre-entry, it's mapped right to the bottom end of the ESOL curriculum. So, you know, right to the start of their journey. Although it's non-regulated, it does have the rigor and quality assurance of a regulated provision. And obviously, we hope that that builds learner confidence then in the classroom, and they can progress through the entry levels and through levels 1 and 2 as well. The qualification is certified, and there is funding available for this as well. If you'd like to know any more information on funding, etc., please do let us know. On to community interpreting. So this is levels 1 through to 3, and it is funded. We provide bespoke subject specialist support, as with all of our qualifications. And this is a portfolio-based qualification, so we also provide you with the tracking sheets, which you'll see a little later on, to help support the progress. Level 3 of community interpreting is designed alongside the National Occupational Standards. And as you'll see, it'll become a common theme over the next couple of slides. Verification and certification is offered throughout the year. So again, it's not just a particular window within that year. It's an all year round verification and certification. You will have direct contact with your EQA and our in-house customer support advisor all throughout the year. And we do have a new unit for community interpreting, which comes as of the 1st of August, the next academic year, which is remote interpreting. So after everything that we've been through over the past 14 or 15 months, you know, having to do things through Zoom, through Skype, through Microsoft Teams, etc. This is an interpreting role that is done through a variety of those methods. So obviously interpreting remotely. Again, any information you want on that new unit, we'd be happy to provide. So I told you that we liked a long name here. So here we go: volunteering to support English language teaching and learning. So this is made up of 4 units, which are assisting in the classroom, safeguarding in the English language classroom, practicing language use, and providing opportunities for social engagement. So this is an individualized curriculum and is of course an extension of language learning. Again, it's a portfolio-based qualification, and we ask for a variety of evidence options. We require clear learning objectives, and the assessment set criteria is provided with language and classwork activities. And I said this will be a recurring theme, so certification and verification is offered all year round. We also offer unit certification, so if you just wanted to do, or the learner just wanted to do practicing language use, you can just do that particular unit, for example. Okay, so I'm going to quickly run you through our website and some of our resources. I won't go through all of them because some of our specs are 57, 58 pages, but you will see that the links are all here for when we send the slides out. You'll have full access to them. So I'm just going to come out of the PowerPoint and over to our website. So can I just check, Francis, can you see that okay?
Yeah, can. Yeah.
Perfect, thank you. So many of you will be familiar with our website, but for those that aren't, we have individual pages for colleges, training providers, adult education, etc. And we have a list here of all of our qualifications that we offer. Obviously today we're talking about ESOL, so I'm just going to click into the ESOL page. So you'll see here you've got an option straight away to go through to the specifications. Got details on the upcoming webinars, which we're all sat on at the moment. And then we've got, you know, information about who the qualifications are for, a bit more information about Ascentis, you know, the new levels, awards that are coming, and, you know, additional ESOL resources as well. You go down and you can see we've got specifications available here. We've got funding information available, including all of the AIM codes. And if you so wished, you can see some testimonials there as well. We also have a resources section where you can go and you can view all of the policies, key documents, and all of the specifications if you're an approved Ascentis Centre for our qualifications, including tracking sheets and sample papers, etc. If you don't have an Ascentis login, you could just go to the login up here and you can go to login at Ascentis and you can request a login from there. Obviously, I'm already registered on the site. If you wanted to become an approved Ascentis Centre, then you could just go to the Join Us, Become an Approved Centre part of our website, and you can see all of the information here. So you can see the centre recognition form, you can see the guidance and the centre agreement terms and conditions, as well as our product catalogue, which has our full range of qualifications, including costing as well. There's a bit of information about the benefits of Ascentis. I won't read them out to you, you'll be pleased to know, but you can view those on our site as well as a bit more information about the centre recognition process. If you are already an approved Ascentis Centre, which is looking at the list of people on this call, and many of you already are, but are not approved for ESOL or any of our other qualifications that you wanted, here you can download the qualification approval form and just send it in to us, and there's no additional cost for that. We can get you approved for that qualification. So if I just go and click on a couple of resources, so the first one that we're going to look at, you'll see here, actually we've got a website survey. So when I'm sure that you're looking for our website later, if there's any feedback you want to give us on our website, please feel free, or if not, just click out. So you'll see here we're going back to the ESOL page, and you can see we've got all of our specs, the full spec, which we'll have a look at in a minute. We've got our volunteering specs here. We've got some example tracking sheets here and some sample papers, including audio files as well. Again, I'll leave you to go through these at your leisure, as the links are all within the PowerPoint that we'll be sending out to you. Don't click on that like I've just done. So again, so this is the pre-entry part. So again, you can access all of the specifications for the pre-entry ESOL qualification here. So this is the full ESOL spec. So as I said, some of our specifications are very long. In this instance, it's 37 pages. So don't worry, I'm not going to read it word for word for the next 37 pages for you. But a bit about Ascentis at the top. But then if we look at the table and contents, you can see here that it's a really full detailed specification. So talks you through an induction to the ESOL courses from Ascentis, the aims, the target groups, and then it all goes through to total qualification time. It talks about the assessment and arrangements, the controlled assessment, the conduct of assessment timings, and then it splits it out into all the different options, so speaking and listening, reading, writing, etc. And then you have all of the separate specifications as well. So again, the link will be there for you to look through this at your leisure. So this is the volunteering to support English language learning and teaching specification that we touched on in the previous slide. So you can see here you've got all of the mandatory units, you've got the guided learning hours, the unit codes, and then if we go back up to the table of contents, again, you've got all of that information about an introduction, the aims of the qualification, and then you've got all of the full unit specs as well as information on the assessment and verification. So if I move on to the tracking sheet, which I said I'd show you. So this is a tracking sheet for the volunteering qualification. And you can see here as we scroll down, so this is for the safeguarding in the English classroom unit. And you can see you've got all of your criteria here. You can mark out the assessment method. You can put down the evidence details, the portfolio reference, and the completion date. So it's obviously a full check for the qualification, but also a full check as well. So you can see where the learner's up to within that particular unit. And then you can see here that the learner has to sign it off, as does the assessor. And then if it's a sampled unit or a sample paper, then the internal verifier as well. Just scroll down to the assisting in the classroom tracking sheet. Again, very, very similar. So you've got all the criteria, assessment method, evidence details, portfolio reference, and completion date. And then you've just got the sign off at the end as well. So this is actually the specification for community interpreting at level 3. So again, don't worry, I'm not going to go through it, but again, you can see it's a very thorough specification, and you've got all of the different unit specifications at the end as well. So this one's 51 pages, so you know, you can just view and scroll down to the particular units that you want to look through. But you've got all of your tutor guidance in here as well as all the information about the assessments and external and internal verifications. The final resource I'm going to show you today is the 101 classroom activities. So these are sort of fun activities to engage with your learners to make sure that, you know, obviously it's a stressful time learning a different language. So, you know, I'm sure you want to try and make it as a fun environment as possible. So these are just some classroom activities that we have that you can, I was going to say, play with them. So for example, we've got something called FizzBuzz. which is quite a low level one. So the learners count around the room in order, one number each, and then for every number 3 or multiple of 3, so 6, 9, 12, 15, etc., the learner says fizz, and for every 5 or multiple of 5, so 5, 10, 15, 20, the learner says buzz, and then obviously there's variations to that as well. But again, quite a low level example there. Then if we look and we have vocab bingo here, can't even say the word. The teacher writes down 20 to 25 words on the board. The learner chooses 9 of those words, writes them down, and then the learners call out one by one, and each giving a sentence containing that word. So again, slightly more advanced. And obviously there's 101 of these for you to look through and decide what you want to play with your learners. I hope that gives you a good overview of some of the resources that are available from Ascentis. And as I've said, all of these links will be in the PowerPoint that we're going to send to you along with a recording of today. So with that, I'm just going to go back to my PowerPoint, and I'm going to pass back over to Francis.
Thank you very much. So as we said at the beginning of the webinar, we had an exciting announcement to make. So this is our announcement for our reading. So we are now going to provide an online reading. So this will be available from the next academic year, so from the 1st of August 2021. This will still need to be delivered in the centres. It is not a remote qualification assessment even. This is going to be available for entry 2 and entry 3, and also for the level 1. It's automatically marked online, so no tutor marking is needed. A practice paper will be made available, and this will take the centre through the whole process. So watch this space for further details, and we will update you as and when we get more. It is worth noting this doesn't replace the paper reading assessment that got asked yesterday at our webinar yesterday. So it's an option to do the online reading if you'd like to. So just we've provided some testimonials here for you to have a look at. I won't read through them because we are going to send these slides out, but it's always nice to see what other colleges think and have experienced of. So we've got one from Bury Adult Learning Service here. We've got one from Barnet and Southgate, one from Hopwood Hall, and then one from East Sussex. So you can have a read at them at your leisure when we send out the slides. And then finally from me, we have a list of some of our Ascentis centres. So these go across the whole of the country. So we've got from Wolverhampton, we've got a couple in Wales, in Cardiff, we've got Cheshire, Hull, we go down to London, Southampton. So we have a range of ESOL provisions across the country. And it's just nice to see a few that are in your area and have a look at, you know, who's doing ESOL around you as well. And you can always, you know, for that networking and interaction as well. So I'll hand back over to Alex for a roundup.
Thank you very much. So I'm just going to go through a couple of quick slides, and then, as I said, Francis and I and Lou will hang around for any questions that you may have at the end. The other Ascentis qualifications that we offer, so we offer short online qualifications or SOQs. We have 25 titles. Obviously, they're a great way for any underspent AEB you may have. If you'd like any more information on SOQs, please do contact us. And we also did a webinar a couple of weeks ago on SOQs. So if you would like the slides from that webinar, please let me know, or please let Francis or I know, and we'd be happy to send those out. We have English and Maths provisions all the way through from stepping stones to entry 3. We have Essential Digital Skills Qualification, or EDSQ. Again, that's a relatively new qualification to Ascentis, and we do have centres that are now signed up and using that qualification. As with the SOQ qualification, we did a webinar on that a couple of weeks ago. So again, if you'd like the slides from that webinar, if you couldn't make it, please let us know and we'd be happy to send those slides out. We have a full access to higher education provision as well, and again, you know, we'd be happy to discuss that along with progression and employability too. So if you remember at the start, I said that we're going to ask a favour of you if you could do a quick poll for us. So I'm going to launch that poll now and just keep it open for a few seconds. So we hold regular seminars throughout the year. Hopefully you can all see that poll. Our next seminar is going to be in the next academic year. If you could give a quick like as to whether it be the autumn term, the spring term, or the summer term that you prefer that in. So obviously, you know, October time, maybe November, sort of February time, or maybe this sort of time of year, and we'll look to get that all sorted for you. So I can see we're pretty much all voted. I feel like I'm on Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, saying vote with your keypads now. So I'll just give it another couple of seconds, and then we'll close that down. We've got pretty much everyone's response, so thank you very much for that, guys. Just closing that now, so hopefully that will have gone off your screen. So finally, just on joining Ascentis. So as you saw from when I went through the website, we just need a centre recognition form or qualification approval. If you are already in a Ascentis centre, we can provide you detail on that. You would then be approved by quality assurance and allocated your you'd be allocated your designated external quality assurer. Easy for me to say, isn't it? We've then provided you with your bespoke training on-site or online, dependent on the current COVID situation and guidance. So that's it from us for today. I'd like to say thank you very much to everyone for coming on board and listening to us. Francis and I's contact details are now on screen and will be obviously on the information that we send out to you, the slides and the recording that we send out to you. If there are any questions now, we are going to hang around for a few minutes, or if you'd just like to ask some questions of us separately, then obviously feel free to reach out to either of us on the email address there.
Thank you very much for attending. Appreciate you giving up your lunch breaks and your time.